morning, y'all. So I'm going to get into it. How everything has unfolded. So I'm going to go to Psalms. And it is number 8. Like verse 8. And it's going to go down from 8 to 9. And I'll explain a little bit of this. So it says, Depart from me, all ye workers of iniquity. For the Lord hath heard the voice of my weeping. The Lord hath heard my supplications. Okay, so supplications means, because this is a new word, the humble, the sincere, the ones that are really sincere when asking. It says, the Lord will receive my prayer. So that means that he has heard your prayer of you sincerely needing his help and sincerely asking for all of this evilness to stop. And this is his warning to them. So this is in Proverbs. It says, and it's Proverbs chapter 14, verse 11. It says, the house of the wicked shall be overthrown. Okay, so that means people that's in office. Like courtrooms, schools, senators, politicians, lawyers, they will be overthrown, which means that they will not be in power no more. So God is showing this is what's going to happen. It says, but the tabernacles of the upright shall flourish. So that means like the righteous, the ones that are truth. They will get many blessings right now. It says, there is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Meaning that they believe, the evil or the wicked believe that what they're doing is right, but it really isn't. It's going into death, meaning perish. So they will die, and they will be put in the ground, and then the millennium will start. Okay, so I want to address some things. In Revelations, it used to say, but the end is not yet. Now it says, the end is at hand. Okay, so that's changed. So since it says that the end is at hand, that means that it's getting closer. So that's something that I had been shown. The other thing that I had been shown is the near-death experiences that a lot of people have experienced and then, woken up years later, wanting to know why they didn't die. Or if they did die, if we were on a different world. And what God showed me was angels don't die. And we're not the fallen angels, we're the angels for war. We're like the warrior angels is what I have been shown. So the vibrations that we have is to get us ready. It's to transform us for our spirits to get more of built up and prepared for battle. Something else. This light. It's like a soft yellow light that had came to me and went into like my chest. And I was shown that was filling up my soul, like filling up the power inside of us because of us. I mean, we're spiritual. We're spiritual beings, but we have a human. We're like human in the flesh. And if somebody tries to make war with you and you start to get these vibrations where you feel like something's taking over, that is your soul taking over, is what I have been shown. It's our soul that is taking over, because our minds in the human form cannot comprehend the changes or what's going on. So when the spirit takes over, we completely black out because we don't know what's going on until after it's over. And I'm sure that whoever is trying to make war against us will tell us what probably happened, because we will not remember it until somebody addresses it, until it's time. So we're going to be here through trials and tribulations. The trials are the testing, where the devil's going to test you all. The 10 Commandments, and I want to bring this up. The Sabbath day is to keep holy. The Sabbath day is Saturday. No, I'm not Jehovah's Witness. I want to get that out of the way. I'm Pentecostal, but it really don't matter what you are at this time. But if you go and you look at any history, it has never been on a Sunday. Sunday keepings were never supposed to have been the day, because Sunday is the beginning of the week. And Saturday is the end of the week. So you can go through Baptist, Pentecostal, you can go through basically any type of religious church, and ask them, and they were a Saturday keeping, and we weren't supposed to keep the Sunday keeping. So that needed to be addressed. Another thing that needs to be addressed is on the 10 Commandments, you all. It says that thou shalt not commit adultery. Okay? In these times, we're not supposed to get divorced. If you're married, you're not supposed to get divorced. The devil's going to tempt you of bringing people that you are attracted to around to try to break that commandment. Don't stand firm, because it's just temporary. The best thing that I've learned, that God showed me what to say, was, I'm a child of God, that you stand under me, and you have no power over me. And when you say that, that's any entities, that's the devil, that's any of them that are coming at you. Keep on God's armor. You know, even if you can't remember it, you all, because it's going to change. You know, you can say a small prayer of let me remember how this goes. It's the shield for salvation, which is the helmet. And then it's the breastplate for righteousness. And it's the belt for truth. And then the sandals to walk in peace, to not make war with your enemies. You know, this is just a brief one. Because there's a lot of it. But this works as well. And then you're going to take up the spirit of the sword, okay? The spirit of the sword is your mouth. And I don't think a lot of people know that. They actually think it's a sword. What it is it's your mouth is your power. Our mouth, our tongue, is the most deadliest weapon and does not have no bones in it. So that's why we have to be really careful in these times how we say things and how we do things. Now I want to address about the wicked, where they're going to feel ashamed. And they need to. And I'm sorry if somebody sees it and gets offended, but they do. And I'm going to explain why. Right now, they have that separation going on with children, Hispanic children. Well, what about all the children? Okay, why label one nationality? Why not all? Because in all courts, so I'm going to tell you exactly what I know of how they do this. If your child has a disability, they get an extra bonus if they can adopt your children out quick. They remove my children, and they try to adopt them out. And my children are Native, and I'm Native. So there's a clause. They're not allowed to, because back in, I think it was 1940s or something like that, they were adopting out Native children. And the Native tribes got together and said no, that they're not allowed to do that no more. Well, the courts tried to overthrow what the Natives had already wrote. And this is here in Kentucky. And the judge was really nasty. He knew I was, in poverty at that time. And he wanted to do anything he could to try to adopt out my children. Well, while they were in state care, my children got neglected. My youngest was drove around without a car seat. He was 18 months old. If that was any other parent, they would have went to jail and lost their kid. And then my other child was medically neglected. He had got his tonsils removed, and a week later, strep set in the back of his throat and attacked his kidneys, which led him to kidney failure. And this is while they were in state care, because my son had his tonsils removed a week prior to them removing my children. They made up false accusations that were never proven, never looked into, and they just removed them. Then they tried their hardest to find anybody to adopt them. And I had went in and I said, my kids are not for sale. I said, you can put your own kids up for sale. And it really, really got to them, but I didn't care. Because the way that they do these children, and I've been there, and a lot of people have not sit in outside of family courts and seen how some of these prosecuting attorneys do the parents and the children. And it's really sad. But nothing's going to change. Now, since God's angry, and that's exactly what has happened, is now he says vengeance is his. So we're going to go through trials and tribulations. So the trials are, the devil's going to try to make you break these 10 commandments, okay? You have to hold on to these 10 commandments, you all. Unless God shows you, like a divorce, okay? If he says, yeah, because this is a wolf, then yeah. But if he doesn't, then stand still, because the devil's testing you at this time. Even with, God says that no other God shall come before him. Okay? You hear of all these other gods, or you could become a god or goddess. No. Okay? That's against God. Okay? You can become that, but you have to use witchcraft. And if you use witchcraft, that's against God. So, either way, it's against God. I mean, yeah, we're allowed to use spells, you all, when we go to heaven. Not here on earth. And that's where the fallen angels that came in. Okay, so the fallen angels came in and they taught these women and children spells. Because they were angry at God, because God kicked them out of heaven. But they still roam in the heavenly realms. Okay, so there are different heavens. And if you remember in the Bible, it said God created the heavens and the earth. Now it says heaven, because they don't want you to remember that part. But that's what it means. There are heavenly realms that we go to. We have to work our way up. And that's basically my understanding. Now, that man will be here tomorrow. I hope he's here tomorrow. And I'm going to try to call some more preachers today. I want to get them on recording, but you all, I don't think it's going to happen. Just because when I tried last time, you couldn't even hear them. So I'm just going to try to talk to some, if they'll talk to me, just to get kind of their understanding. We're supposed to call people. Even if our families aren't awake, leave them alone. Go on to the next one. Go to churches, go to friends, go to, wherever. And just gradually, slowly wake them up. And if they want to fight, walk away. Because some of them, they're not going to. They don't. Some of them preach the word of God, you all, and they don't even know God. And they'll say, well, they've did all this stuff, but they never surrendered their heart to God, so therefore, they don't know God. And it's sad, but it's true. Jesus said we could do anything that he did. And that's true, we can. But to have God on your side, you have to surrender your heart to him. You have to surrender every ounce of you to God. and let Jesus intervene in you. So that's it for now, you all. Much love. I'll be up here tomorrow. I'm going to try to do it after he comes. And, you know, if he doesn't, then I'll go in and make one. And then I'll give you an update about me making my phone calls to these other preachers. If I can get them to answer. Now, I might not be able to get them to answer, but I'll try my best. Anyway, much love. Talk to y'all later.